Today we're going to do an iPhone 6s Plus screen repair. As you can see, this iPhone 6s Plus has been through some damage. The top glass is cracked as well as the LCD underneath. The LCD, or the liquid crystal display, is also responsible for the touch and what we can see with the naked eye. This phone has suffered severe damage, so we'll go ahead and replace the LCD. So here's a list of tools needed to do the repair. A Phillips head screwdriver, a pentalobe screwdriver, a pair of tweezers, a plastic spludger. This tool is used for lifting parts off of the motherboard and also separating other parts within inside of the phone without causing an electric current or blowing out any of the device's parts. You will also need a metal sesamo. This is a thin metal prying tool used to do a lot of Apple device repairs. And last but not least, you will need a form of heat, and today we will be using a handheld torch. Also needed for the repair is a new LCD screen. In this case, it'll be the iPhone 6s Plus black LCD screen. These parts are also available on the website gadgetronrepair.com, as well as the do-it-yourself tools and any other small parts, camera, battery, etc. that you may need to pick up for the do-it-yourself repair. So the first step would be to take the two pentalobe screws out of the bottom of the iPhone 6s Plus with your pentalobe screwdriver. Next step would be to take your sesamo tool and to pry the LCD from the back housing of the iPhone 6s Plus. And the way you do that is with the sesamo tool or a thin razor. Part the LCD in the back housing right above the speaker jack port and carefully pry up, not to damage the LCD anymore. Now remember, this phone has been repaired before. Phones that have not been repaired before will be a little tougher to get in because they have the extra adhesive laced around the edge of the screen, like the white sticking out there. So sometimes some heat is needed to loosen the adhesive and to enable you to pry through it with a pry tool. So in this case, alright, now that we got the LCD lifted from the back housing frame, a couple of components I want to show you. This will be the battery. South here will be the charging port, as well as the vibrator, the earphone jack, loudspeaker, motherboard, SIM card slot. This is where the LCD connects, and the back camera, the rest of the stuff, home button, etc. is attached to the LCD screen. So at this step, now we will disassemble the LCD screen from the back housing. We will do so by removing these 5 screws here. 1, 2, 3 in the middle, 4 at the bottom, 5 at the top left. And we will be placing these screws in a specific numeric order as they come out of the phone, right here on this magnetic mat. Now I could skip this step, but I will not. For those of you that are beginners, the proper way to do this is to disassemble all power from the electronic in this case the motherboard of the phone, which we will do with these two screws here. Lift this plate and disconnect this cable from the power or from the motherboard so that the phone will not have any power, and then drain the power out of the rest of the phone by clicking the power button. Now that we have the LCD disassembled from the iPhone 6s Plus back frame and motherboard, it is time to disassemble the LCD itself. A couple of parts will need to transfer over to the new screen. One being the back plate, the home button, as well as the back plate, which has 2 screws in it. The 6 screws on the side of the LCD frame will need to be disassembled and reassembled also on the new frame, and the front proximity cable, as well as the loudspeaker and front camera, which will be disassembled by this middle plate, and these 4 screws here pertaining to the back LCD frame. Now that the LCD screen is disassembled with all the screws, all of the parts will need to be transferred over. The first part being the home button, the back plate, and then the proximity cable. As a rule of thumb, a good technician will always test the part before installation. As one should know, it is very hard to return an item that has been used. So to do so, carefully place the battery connector back to the motherboard on the iPhone 6s Plus back housing, and then connect the LCD connectors where they should be connected. Once the LCD connectors are in place, power on the phone and ensure that the part will power on. And this part of the test, we just want to run our hand across and make sure that the screen is responding to anything. I do not have the home button installed, but I can hit the information button, see the IMEI number on the device, switch it back and forth, hit the regulatory, and I think that we can see that the touch works on the LCD, which is a good thing. From this point, we are now ready to reassemble the LCD and connect it back to the device. So make sure you unplug the battery from the motherboard and drain the power.
Gucci gang, 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 Gucci gang. Spread their racks on new chain. My love do. I the I forgot name. I can't buy where the rain. Rather go and buy ball mains. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Now that you have the LCD reassembled with all the transferred parts, the home button in place, the loudspeaker, the proximity cable, front camera all in place, all of the screws properly attached, all 6 on the side, the 4 at the top, and the home button. Don't forget to reattach the battery to the motherboard here before you reassemble the LCD, which we will be doing next here. Please don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important step. These 5 screws shown here that you took out earlier to disassemble the LCD that I place here, they must go back in the correct same spot. Please do not mix the screws up. They are all different sizes, and if you put one out of place, you will mess up the whole phone. With the phone reassembled, give it a look over, make sure all the screws are back in place. Now power on the device and make sure everything works. Reseat the LCD perfectly back inside the frame. Remember, if you have to force the frame inside of the frame and it's not sliding in very easy like that, then there's probably something stuck and caught, and you're gonna break the glass from behind. So be very careful with that. But as we can see, looks like everything works out. And that'll do it. I'm Dr. Tabletstein, guys. Thanks for joining Gadgetron Repair. Follow us at Gadgetron Repair on YouTube. Also visit GadgetronRepair.com for everything you need for these DIY videos.